Good day and welcome to Mrs. Bam's Study Notes. The topic today is barriers in communication. Communication barriers refer to anything that impedes or interferes with the clear exchange of information between individuals or groups. These barriers can arise from various contexts, and they may be due to physical, emotional, cultural, or psychological factors. Here's an overview of the key types of communication barriers. Number 1. Physical barriers. Environmental factors like noisy surroundings, distance, poor acoustics, or physical obstructions like walls or devices can affect the quality of communication. Technological issues like poor internet connection, malfunctioning equipment, or incompatible devices can also disrupt communication. Number 2. Language barriers. In different languages, misunderstandings can arise if people speak different languages, dialects, or have certain types of accents. Jargon or technical terms. Using specialized language that the other person doesn't understand can create confusion. Poor vocabulary or grammar. A lack of clarity in word choice or incorrect grammar can make a message hard to comprehend. Number 3. Cultural barriers. Cultural differences, like differences in customs, traditions, and values, can lead to misinterpretations of messages or intentions. Non-verbal misunderstandings. Gestures, body language, or facial expressions might be interpreted differently across cultures. Number 4. Emotional barriers. Emotions that are strong, like anger, frustration, or stress, can cloud judgment, making it difficult to listen or respond effectively. Prejudice and biases. Personal biases, stereotypes, or preconceived notions can cause one to misinterpret or dismiss messages from others. Fear or anxiety. Nervousness about speaking or being judged can inhibit clear communication. Number 5. Psychological barriers. Perceptual differences. People might interpret the same message differently based on their experiences, beliefs, or attitudes. Assumptions and expectations. Assuming the other person knows something or expect them to act in a certain way can hinder proper understanding. Close-mindedness. A lack of willingness to be open to other perspectives or new information can block effective communication. Social barriers. Status differences. Hierarchical or power dynamics between individuals or groups can create barriers, especially if one party feels superior or inferior. Social norms and taboos. Certain topics or issues may be considered inappropriate to discuss in some social groups, limiting the range of communication. Number 7 is semantic barriers. Different interpretations of words. Words and phrases can have multiple meanings. If people interpret the same term differently, misunderstandings may occur. Ambiguity. Messages that are vague or unclear lead to confusion. Number 8. Interpersonal barriers. A lack of active listening can cause a barrier if one party isn't fully engaged in listening. They may miss key parts of the message. Distractions. External distractions or internal distractions, like being preoccupied with thoughts, can interfere with the communication process. Emotional distance or lack of trust. If there is little rapport or trust between communicators, the message may not be received as intended. Number 9. Organizational barriers. Hierarchy in the workplace. Rigid structures or hierarchies may create a communication gap, as lower level employees may hesitate to communicate openly with higher ups. Poor communication channels. Ineffective or insufficient communication channels within an organization may lead to misunderstandings or confusion. Number 10. Nonverbal barriers. Body language and facial expressions. Misreading nonverbal cues such as gestures, posture, or facial expressions can cause many misunderstandings. Think, for example, on how different cultures perceive eye contact. Inconsistent nonverbal cues. When verbal messages contradict nonverbal cues, like saying "I am fine" while looking upset, it can lead to confusion. Number 11 is a lack of feedback. If there is no opportunity for clarification or response, the sender and the receiver may not know whether the message was understood correctly, leading to miscommunication. Number 12. Time barriers. If the timing is off, like trying to communicate when somebody is busy, distracted, or stressed, it may affect the clarity and the effectiveness of the message. Number 13. Lack of knowledge or understanding. Information gaps. If one person doesn't have the same knowledge level as another, it can create barriers in understanding, especially when discussing complex topics. Number 14. Stereotyping. When somebody assumes that they know what the other person thinks or feels based on their background, their gender, or their group identity, it can limit open communication and lead to misunderstanding. Each of these barriers can impact communication in a different way, and overcoming them often requires patience, active listening, adaptability, and empathy. Join me again for Mrs. Bam's study notes.